Hi, everybody. All right. Sorry about that. Today's a little bit hectic because, as you may have noticed, last night, Molo9's site was down. So, um, yeah, I was up a bit late in the office trying to get that fixed. Today, you're seeing me without makeup because it's Yom Kippur. We're not supposed to do any it's a holy day in the Jewish faith where you're supposed to repent for like everything that bad that happened throughout the year, and you're not supposed to do any any glamorous things. Yeah, you can Google it, but you're supposed to skip wearing makeup today. So today you get to see what I look like without makeup, without my hair done. Um, anyways, all right, let's get started with uh, today's questions. If let's see. Okay, you can drop them into Telegram, or you can send them to Quora. I will pull open the ones on Quora in a moment. Let me see this. Quora. Oh, I wanted to show you guys this. This is one of the things I was working on last night. Hopefully later today you will see what I was working on this morning that made me lose track of time. It has to do with the masterminds that we have coming up soon. All right, so I just dropped into the Telegram channel. I just dropped into the Telegram channel the Moneymaker Workbook. It's something that was one of the first assets added to Molo9, the original version that was really just content, no software. And now we are making it free for everyone. So if you want to see the Moneymaker Workbook, you can click on that link. I will drop it below. Here we go. Let's see. All right, so that should have dropped it to YouTube. Here, this should bring it to LinkedIn. So let me see. I'll bring it up on the video as well. It's molo9.com/startups. All right, so sorry, I'm very much in the project I was working on. Downside of building product and having to be customer facing all at once. All right, now let me open Quora. Sign in here. Okay, I'm gonna open Quora on my phone. All right, requests. Okay, what are some good ways? Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm answering questions that were sent in via email. There haven't been any new questions. It's all been stuff that we were able to link back to another live Q&A, or it's in the FAQ section on the Molo9 site. If you have any questions, you can drop them into Telegram like Robert just did. Otherwise, you can send them also to Quora. What you do on Quora is you send me a specific request, and it'll pop up under my requests for this week, and then I can read it off that way. So Robert asked, what marketing hacks would you apply to grow a community of support for a cause, not a specific event? What to show us, want to show a supportive community for a movement? I think that really depends on the specific movement. So for example, if you're doing a cause for, if the cause is like underrepresented victims of certain types of perpetrators, Let me see if their site is live or if they're still just taking referrals. Let's see. Okay, they're on PitchBook. Nope. Okay. All right, so let me get you her LinkedIn. She may kill me for this. No, she won't. I'm just kidding. Katie. Okay, so Katie Levinson, she used to be an engineer for NASA. She used to be a robot engineer. Very, very smart, very good friend. You can connect with her on LinkedIn. She, here's her. Okay, Katie Levinson. She has a company that they go after. There are people who are underrepresented that are the victims of medical like fraud, and she collects those cases, packages them into a class action, and then matches them with lawyers. If you're going after victims, one of the easiest ways to grow that community is to start with some sort of form where people can fill out how they were a victim, what they were a victim of. And then the easiest thing to do is when you find multiple perpetrators, then you contact a lawyer saying, look, I have multiple people who faced this experience from this bad actor. Because when you have multiple cases of a bad actor, it's an easy open and shut case, and lawyers will take those types of cases on contingency. An example that's very popular is if you watch the TV show Suits, you'll see that they do class action lawsuits. So class action means that a lot of people were harmed by one bad actor, but that also happens on a small scale. If the cause is not something where you have victims and you're trying to get them justice, let's see, let me try to think of an instance where you have victims and they don't need to sue. Like breast cancer awareness or something like that. With that, if you are doing a new non-for-profit and you wanted to get you wanted to get people to support this non-for-profit that raises funds for research for new cures for some sort of illness, what you could do is reach out to current victims or reach out to the friends and family of current victims and say, look, we're starting this. We would love to feature your mom, feature her story, and you can go the podcast route. That's a really easy one. So what you would do, let me get you the two tools. Okay, so this is Anchor FM. Let me share link address. This is Katie Levinson. I'm sharing these also in the Telegram chat. Anchor FM makes it very easy for you to launch a podcast and then distribute it to multiple countries, multiple publication channels. It does not have the best copyright law. So what you have to keep in mind is once you publish it, it's like out there on the web. And some people, they're very sensitive to this. So I had a mentor who wanted to launch his own podcast. He did not like Anchor FM because of their copyright laws. For me, with 9x90, that was that's my podcast. We wanted to put out stories and information that helps founders that are looking to like leave a legacy, build, accumulate wealth, in not just like make a bunch of money and throw it into stupid things. They're looking to like leave a legacy. So to accumulate multi-generational wealth, to build something meaningful and make money while building something meaningful. So with 9x90, we were okay with Anchor FM because I just wanted the information out there for people to be able to use it. I think when you give smart people key information to be able to achieve what they think is a better version of the world, like everyone benefits for it. So I was okay with Anchor FM being the way that it is with its copyright law. So that's one thing. So what you do is, if it's for you showcase the stories of victims using Anchor FM. You could also put the stories onto YouTube Live first, or onto YouTube and onto Anchor FM. So it's a video in one place and audio in another place. And then from there, what happens is you share the story, the stories of victims. You let them share it with their friends, with their family, with their networks. And that's a very easy way to get traction for like a grassroots moral cause or community. Let's see if there's something else. That's the easiest one, because people get really excited when they're on a podcast or video. I would start with that one. And then if it's something where you're trying to protect victims, you have the form approach. Those are the two main I would go with. If you could be more specific about what the cause is, then Ethan just sent a very funny message. I appreciate. All right. Sorry, if there's a specific cause that that you're targeting, just put it into the chat so that I can better answer your question. Ethan said, is there a specific question you feel like answering so I can ask it? Thank you, Ethan, for your offer. I appreciate it. But for now, we're just going to stick with what people actually want to ask. All right, I see Robert's typing. We started 6 minutes late, so we're going to go 6 minutes over. Next question. Oh, I'm going to answer this question while Robert types. Oh, okay, here we go. It is around environmental issues and cleaning up environmental impact sites. Oh, okay. Okay. I don't work a lot with these. It's not because I don't think the environment's important. It's simply because my background's biochemistry, so I focus more on working with like medical and side of things, but in the internal environment, for the external environment. Oh my gosh. Okay, so environmental impact sites. Okay, I think I have an answer. Let me just double check. Oh, okay. Okay, so Robert said, it is around environmental issues and cleaning up environmental impact sites. The government wants to avoid these, and we need public support, not outrage. Unfortunately, outrage is the best way to get publicity. I don't know if I have the book. I don't. I think my mentor gave me a book, and I think I gave it back after I read it. One of my mentors. It's always good to have a couple. What's the book? All right, so this book. Okay, so Robert says we want adult solution-oriented conversations, not anger. Unfortunately, what happens first is you have to speak to people's emotions before you can speak to their brains. So you have to get them emotional about something before they'll get logical about it. I think last I read, it's 98% of buying decisions are based on emotion, not logic. And later on, the person will explain why they chose like they will have a logical explanation for the emotional decisions that they made. So what what you have to do is you have to explain to people um, why not protecting a certain asset, in this case the environment, is actually their problem. Um, so the way I had one of my a member of my legal counsel explain it, she said, you have a gun and you don't want to use it, but if somebody points a gun at you, what you want to do first is not pull out your gun. You want to take their gun and show them how they actually have the barrel of the gun pointed at themselves. So when they're trying to be difficult, your first step isn't to show how you can also be difficult. Your first step is to show how by trying to harm you, they're actually harming themselves. So in this case, by thinking that there's no consequence to harming the environment, if you're able to show them how it actually harms them, like, for example, there's this town a little bit west of here where they started building into the Everglades. And my husband wanted to look at real estate out there. And I said, I'm not moving out there because, one, we're encroaching on the territory of wild animals and we have small children. I don't want a panther or an alligator making one of our kids its morning snack. And two, the government put together this package where they spray for mosquitoes because there's obviously a lot of mosquitoes out there. And they said, oh, don't worry, if you move out here, we don't have a mosquito problem because the government covers paying for spraying for mosquitoes like twice a week or something like that. It's like, okay, let's go back to biochemistry. Chemicals that kill bugs are going to be in our air on a regular basis. Is that going to cause cancer? Is that going to cause some other sort of disease? Like, you think that this is a solution, but it's actually a solution that's killing the next generation. It's not just killing bugs. It's also it can be giving very medically detrimental curses to the kids that are raised in this environment. So what I would do is talk about, share stories. Again, go the podcast route. Share stories about how this hurts, how hurting certain medical or certain environmental sites, how it hurts us, how it hurts our kids. You will be hard pressed to find a woman who stays calm if there is a threat to her child. So that's a very easy way to go. And you'll be hard pressed to find a woman who remains calm and doesn't chew off her husband's ear if she finds that there's a threat to her children and her husband can impact it. So sometimes going for, I know that's like a 1950s way of looking at it, but sometimes going directly for the person who has impact isn't going to get you the most effective result. Sometimes going for the person who has that person's ear is going to get you a better result faster. Let's see. Oh, I had a thought and then my 11:25 called. Okay. What was it? Sorry, I can't remember. I'll have to drop it into Telegram if I think of it later. Okay, we were doing rapid fire 20-minute, trying out the 20-minute call today. A rapid fire question. So I'm going to answer one more question, and then that will be our 20-minute mark. The question was, what are some good ways of gaining pre-product traction and engagement with your target market? What are some good ways of gaining pre-product traction and engagement with your target market? Okay. Give me 1 second. You know what? Because doing a 20-minute live Q&A, I don't think is working for us. You guys have great questions, but your questions require more than 20 minutes to answer. So I'm just going to change this call that was scheduled for 11:25 and move it so that we can do a proper 1-hour live Q&A session. Okay. So we were testing out whether we could do a rapid fire 20-minute live Q&A every week or do a 1-hour live Q&A bi-weekly. And Based on just 2 of these questions, I think 20 minutes is not enough. We're gonna have to stick with an hour, or at least for now. Maybe we could cut it to 30 minutes. We'll see. Okay, so Robert, let me know if that answered your question. If not, just tell me, kind of just throw into Telegram whatever else you're thinking or asking. But I had something with environmental. I can't remember what it was. Oh, okay. So this is the biggest problem with environmental. Typically people who have a high IQ, they'll look at the high level picture, and they'll very quickly see the pattern. They'll very quickly see how like the chain of events. So they'll see how decision A leads to the outcome for decision Z. So what happens, okay, so the problem is that a lot of people who work with environmentally focused or climate control focused organizations, they tend to be more of a high IQ type, that they see how making this decision leads to poor results here that are catastrophic. An example was on the news last week when we had Hurricane Ian. When we had Hurricane Ian, one of the people who came on to talk about it was like, well, obviously this is a result of climate control. It's like, okay, because, and for those of you who know basic like concepts of like environmental science, warmer waters make it easier. So when water gets warm, basically what's happening is the molecules are moving really fast together. And when they're moving really fast together, that causes friction. And that's why friction is what causes heat. So when you see warm water, think fast water, or fast molecules. So when you have a hurricanes, this is why hurricanes speed up in warmer water. So someone who has done that science experiment in like middle school, high school, undergrad, college, when somebody says to them, oh, well, warmer waters are why we have bigger hurricanes, they automatically make that connection. If someone has not done that very specific science experiment at some point, or they don't remember from when they did it, they're not going to make that leap. So they're going to say, oh, this is just another climate control guy, whatever, the guy's a weirdo. Unless you have the listener's attention long enough to explain that to them, they're not going to catch how the two correlate. And you have to make very small logical leaps for people to get from point A to point B. You can't expect them to go with you from point A to point Z because they didn't go with you through all those other letters. So that's one of the reasons that environmental impact, climate conscious companies, they fall short of their goal of raising awareness, is because they expect people to be as scientific or as knowledgeable as them about the topic, and they're not. Think about Molo9, for example. I'll have founders who will send me a message, send my VAs a message on like LinkedIn or one of those other social media outlets, and they'll say, listen, I'm going to give Addie the opportunity to work on my company for free. Okay, so why is working on your company for free an opportunity? Oh, well, my company is going to be the next Facebook, so obviously she will want to work on this for free. I have yet to see one of those companies actually make it past like a month. But telling people that doesn't work. It's not effective. Saying, oh, I'm sorry, but like that's not realistic. Like trying to argue with someone like that, it's not working. It doesn't work. So now what I do when I get people like that contacting me and saying, oh, I want to ask your question. I want to ask you questions about this. I want to do this. I want to do this. You need to help me on my startup. I just send them here to the startups page, to the Moneymaker workbook. And it gives them a small taste of what goes into creating a company that could actually become the next Facebook. And if you're a marketer looking at the Moneymaker workbook, most of that will be obvious to you because you're at point Z. just like the environmentalists are at point Z with understanding how warmer water leads to bigger hurricanes. Bigger hurricanes destroy more of our lived in space. But for somebody who's never been in the startup space, never been a marketer who had to grow a company, they don't understand a lot of the things that I cover in the Moneymaker workbook, which is why I start them there. So that takes them from point A to point B. So if you're in climate conscious, environmentally focused organizations, you want to look at how you can educate the person, but help them feel like they achieved something by the end of their educational experience. You want to activate those reward receptors. So if you don't want them angry, you want them to feel happy about having caused a positive impact on something. And you want to do baby steps. You have to have a funnel for them to go through to get to the point where they're at the same page as you. And this isn't exactly a funnel where you're trying to sell them something. It's a funnel where you're trying to educate them on very big concepts. Okay, I think that's sort of everything that I have that I believe could be useful, helpful for those types of companies. Okay, so there's another question asked on Quora, and I keep putting it down. What are some good ways of gaining pre-product traction and engagement with your target market? There's some good ways of gaining pre-product market traction. I'm trying to think of like a way to synthesize this answer, because it's not exactly like a 2-second answer. Okay, so pre-product means first off, you don't actually have a target market yet. You have an idea of who may be interested in buying your product or service. You don't have like, okay, target market. Yes, you can have a market that you're targeting. You can have a group that you want to put this in front of, but you should not be so closely committed to that target market. You should be open to the people that you think are going to use this the most or your product or service being different than what you initially assumed. Data sometimes, when you're looking at data, you're looking to confirm what you believe. So you're not looking at data. When you're looking at data, you're not necessarily looking at it void of opinions. Like, that's just not possible for humans that are old enough to comprehend data, read it, and collect it. If you're over the age of 5, you have worldviews, opinions, you have concepts of what exists, what doesn't. Not to get too philosophical, but a lot of startups that come in say, this is my target market, this is who I'm going after. They're surprised to find that the people who end up being their like power users are a group that they didn't even consider in the beginning. Even with Molo9, I initially made it for startup founders, but a lot of marketers liked using it because it helps them to communicate concepts with their clients who didn't understand what they were doing or why things were important. And then it became this tool that agencies were giving to their junior marketers, so they didn't have to babysit and handhold their junior marketers. They could just put them on Molo9 and have a junior marketer implement something like a senior marketer, as if a senior marketer was over their shoulder. So even like, I've been in the marketing space for quite a while, and I still am surprised sometimes after a launch seeing who actually ended up loving the product, paying for it, becoming power users. So that's the first thing. The second thing is traction and engagement pre-product. If you're trying to get people excited about what you're launching, you have to be someone, or you have to be launching something revolutionary. People have this idea that they should have a beta list and all they're doing is making a new spatula. You're not going to have people like, why are people going to sign up on a wait list for your new product if they can buy a semi-good version right now on Amazon. Um, People will join a wait list for things that are unique, things that are specific. It's only one of a kind that's coming out, but it has to be an existing brand. Like you have to have following, you have to have people who actually want what you're specifically selling. If you're a first time founder and you're selling a product and you're expecting like thousands of people to want your product, unless you have like a social media following or you have a personal network of people who are all excited about this product, like, and asking you for it, you're not, sorry, one second. Elizabeth, can you grab him? Thank you. We're fortunate enough to have care at the house for my kids on Yom Kippur. Okay, so you should set your expectations low for how many people are going to sign up pre-launch. Okay, so that's the next thing with this question. And then the third thing with this question, pre-product traction and engagement. What are people engaging with? If you're Disney launching a new live action movie and you put the commercial on YouTube, okay, you can expect some engagement with the pre-product announcements. If you're Martin and you just wrote your first book and you're an introvert, that's how you were able to write a book by yourself without other people around, then you're probably not going to have a very long list of people that are going to engage with any posts you put out announcing the book that's coming out. So the pre-product traction and engagement, that comes naturally when you have a following and you have people who have liked your previous products, and not necessarily for people who are launching their first product or startup. Now, okay, if you have an existing brand, you have an existing following, and you're announcing a product that's about to launch, that's a completely different story. For that, you can, I mean, by that point, you already know it shouldn't be target market. It should be your buyer groups, your customer segments. You should have different, and I answered this question based on not having had a product or service before, because they said target market instead of customer segments. So I'm assuming that this person is launching their first item or service. If you have an existing product or service, or sorry, if you have a following, you have products and services that people love, you're about to launch something new, to get traction and engagement, one, you have a wait list. Two, you put out informational posts about the thing that is coming, telling people what it's going to include. If you want to ask people for opinions about what they want it to include, you can also do that as well. And then you kind of circulate those posts, and people will engage with those types of posts where you're letting them tell you like what they're most excited about. You're asking them what you want, what they want to have included in the product, the service offering, the product offering that's about to come out. You have hype posts that you can put together that telling people telling people this is what's coming. Are you excited? What are you excited about? You want to ask the following, you want to ask your following questions. And then I wouldn't necessarily pay for promotion of pre-product. I mean, really, that's so niche. You can in some very specific instances. I'm not going to get into that right now because it's so specific if, how, and where you would use that if I were to share that, it would probably confuse more people than it would help. So we will shelf that. If you have that specific question, email it to the Molo9 support team. Okay, next. Other than for owners of businesses, is LinkedIn Premium useful for people working under the business owner, such as professionals, technicians, etc.? If yes, then how is LinkedIn Premium useful for them? I don't have LinkedIn Premium. I have a friend who uses it. Like LinkedIn gives you an option to be LinkedIn Premium for I think 1 month each year, and he uses it at that time because it gets him seen by more recruiters. And then when recruiters reach out and give him different job offers, he takes that to his company and says, "Look, this is what they're hiring for. Um, this recruiter wanted to reach out to me. This is the role. This is how much it pays. I would love to stay here. My family could use the extra income. Is there a way you could match this?" That's how and why he uses LinkedIn Premium. That's one way that I see people using it that are not business owners. Can we start a startup with multiple products like Tencent? What's Tencent? APAC. I'm not heavily involved in Asian companies. So let me see this. Okay, this is not a. It's leveraging technology to slow the spread of COVID-19 while providing tools and services to enable remote work, studying, and entertainment. Okay, so this is what it says Tencent is. Tencent is leveraging. Oh, thank you, Andy. Andy is involved in APAC region, so we can look at his quick description. Tencent is a Chinese tech company. The group behind WeChat. Oh gosh, WeChat's insane. WeChat is absolutely insane. It's like, and Andy can correct me if I'm wrong here. I think it's like WhatsApp plus eBay plus Venmo. You can do like everything in WeChat. I don't know. We have in the US, we have those anti-monopoly act laws. Like I think even just Facebook, having Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, they're I've read that they've been under scrutiny in the past because they're oh, and he says yes, my description of WeChat is accurate. It's the all-in-one, you can do everything on WeChat. Okay, so Tencent, okay, Andy, let me ask you this. It's like Facebook, an ecosystem on its own. So the question says, can we start a startup with multiple products like Tencent? They have many apps. Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate it. All right. So for the person who asked this question, can we start a startup with multiple products like Tencent? Starting something that is many apps in one is just a bad idea. You have to have a very large team in place to manage the successful launch of and growth of each of those apps, the implementation of each of those apps. I would not. There's a lot of testing that goes into launching something successfully, and after you launch one thing successfully, you launch a second thing successfully, and then a third thing, and then a fourth thing. And Molo9, I think we've had several rollouts of different products and services and add-ons. And some have totally flopped and some have done very well. And even with that, there's like, now that the company is 2022, we launched it in 2020. So now that it's in its third year, we have multiple things that we're working on at the same time to get out to the community. Yeah, and Andy just brought up the point, which is also very valid. There is tons of work and funding to grow a platform. The challenge is to get both buyers and sellers. You want to start out small, and a lot of people undervalue a small start, and you shouldn't. You really shouldn't. You start out small. Start out with making 10 customers happy, and then you grow that to 100, and then you grow that to 200, and then 1,000. Too often people look at these multi-billion-dollar companies and say, oh, I want that. Yeah, I'm sure everyone would love to own Google, but that's not realistic. You have to look at how Google started. Like, what did they do their first 3 months? What did they do their first year? What did Apple do their first year? You have to look at, like, small starts lead to big results over time. So start with something small, make it successful, then you grow that bigger, and then you build and build and build. It's compound interest. Okay. How do profit-driven media maintain credibility? I think I'm supposed to say how does. Yeah, okay, so how does profit-driven media maintain credibility? Well, right now you have something called advertorials. And an advertorial is basically an advertisement that educates people. So if it's profit-driven media, that's affiliate marketing right there. That's advertorials. And the way they maintain credibility, here's an example. I wanted to buy some software and I wasn't sure which company to start with to try first. So I went and looked at this one influencer who has like a few million followers. He's in the space. I looked at the software that he recommended and I clicked on the link on his blog. I know that that brings him money. I also know that it doesn't cost me anything to buy it through his website versus going to Google and typing in and buying it directly from the platform. The company pays him for taking time to explain to me why that software is the best. So I trust this guy. I know that he probably, not he probably, I know that he or either someone on his team researched which software solutions were the best. And now I'm going to pick one of his top 5 recommendations and move forward with it. I know that he profits from it. It does not diminish the amount by which I trust him at all. Sorry, give me 1 second. Elizabeth, if he didn't eat, can you just grab him a pouch out of the bottom of the fridge?
Okay. Yeah, I'm feeding him now.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. Okay, and then Andy asked, the more important question is to ask is why you want to create a platform. My mentor says, excuse me, doing ordinary things consistently makes extraordinary results. That's absolutely true. You may not need a platform to have high profitability. That's also true. There are a lot of things that you can do. I was reading about one guy, he made a plugin only built in PHP and he made $1 million off of it. And he sold it on Envato Market. You know. Okay. Here, for some reason, it doesn't go to LinkedIn unless I do that. Oh, sorry. I've had Katie's thing up for quite a bit. Okay, so we'll keep. This is Envato Elements. I have to change that color after. Okay. Oh, okay. So Andy is from the APAC region. He's lived in 2 different parts of the APAC region, the Asian Pacific region. And he just said that Envato Elements is an Australian company, just like Canva. Yes, there are some great things coming out of Australia. I lived there, I think it was like 6 months, in 2010, I believe it was. A lot of fun. People there are very, very nice. One of the only times I saw a giant shark fin while surfing was in Australia. And the only time I got stuck in the midst of a pack of dolphins was also surfing in Australia. So nothing but fun things to say about my experience there. All right, so next. Oh, we're over here. Okay, so now we have someone on the opposite end of the spectrum. My startup is growing too fast, from 2 to almost 80 users in 4 days, but the users aren't that active. Is this bad? What should I do? Okay, so if you don't have active users but you have fast growth, that means that you're probably giving away something for free that you should be charging for. Too often people get insecure and they decide that they want to look like they decide to go the route of snobbery, which is like a defense mechanism, and so they try to look like starving artists who suffer for their art. Startups and the business world is not a place for starving artists. I'm sorry. You're not suffering for your art. You're in business to give people something that they value enough to pay for it. And if you're not creating something people value enough to pay for, then you're not in business. You're a hobbyist. You're nothing more than a kid selling rocks, or a kid with a lemonade stand who decides to give it out to all the neighbors for free. So if sorry, that's something that gets me very heated is when people are like, oh, I have a great startup, and I'm like, oh, what do you sell? And they're like, oh no, we give away everything for free. Okay, that's not a startup. Like, unless that's a publicity stunt, like giving people free crap that they don't use is not helping anyone. It's not helping the world. It's not benefiting anybody. Go create something for profit and then donate to charities that are actually helping people, feeding people in a foreign country, protecting environmental sites, or helping victims that are underrepresented in some specific part of your country or a different part of the world. Making a free thing, not a good idea. Okay, sorry, that was a total rant. So my startup is growing too fast, from 2 to almost 80 users in 4 days. Users are not active. Okay, that means that you're selling something that's either broken or you're selling something that's free. I would look first at if it's free, it shouldn't be. You should have like gated content of some sort. So maybe there's a free thing, like we have the free workbook at Molo9, but then you should have things that people pay for. So you can validate that they're actual users and someone isn't just running a kiddie script to make a bunch of fake accounts on your platform. We have a mutiny downstairs. Try giving him his water bottle.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, we usually have 2 housekeepers on days like today, and today we only have 1. Okay, so yeah, you're supposed to be give it you want to, if you have people getting something for free and they're not active with it, give them something that they have to pay like a small amount for, and then see if they go up from there. If they don't, it could just be a kiddie script where people are creating fake accounts on your platform, and they aren't actual users. Okay, next. This is a weird racist question that I'm not answering. Okay. In business, how much of success is showing up? All of it. All of it. I had someone apply for a job, complete the background check, and then not show up to work. Obviously, they didn't get the job. Sorry, it's just like, yeah, if you're semi-qualified and you're there and someone who's perfectly qualified isn't there, you're getting the job. You have to be there to get the job, and not necessarily physically there, but show up for the meeting that's on Google Meet or Zoom or whatever it is. Yeah, you can't just not show up. Okay. What could be done to Facebook or Instagram to make it easier for small startup companies to be found easier without them having to pay for advertising? Okay, so Facebook and Instagram are platforms, they're companies, they're not charities. And people get confused with this. And I think it's the starving artists has moved from the art schools into Silicon Valley. Don't. Okay, so sorry, I'm starting to become that like bitter old lady. No, Facebook and Instagram are businesses that they have lots and lots and lots of employees who feed their families, and the way their employees get a salary to be able to pay their rent, pay their mortgage, feed their families is by Facebook and Instagram selling ad space. They have taken like the top PhD behavioral economists and hired them to help them figure out exactly how many ads they could show you for how long before you get annoyed and are driven off the platform. They don't want it to be easy or cheap for businesses to get free press. They don't. That's not the business that they're in. So, sorry, one second. Sorry about that. I don't like my daughter to be on video because while most of you are normal, some of you are crazy and might try to stalk her. Okay, so yeah, if you're looking to get free coverage, it's not going to happen on Facebook or Instagram. It's going to happen on another platform. There, we publish it to Molo9. Where did I do it? Okay, here's all the customer contact channels. If you go into my account, all right, go into my account and then go to more marketing project resources. And then go down to all customer contact channels. That will show you a list of all the different places where you can, like all of the different channels where you can go to acquire customers. It's not two. It's not Instagram or Facebook. There's like, I think 120 something. Last time I checked, it was like 125. This one has 105. Okay, so 105 different customer acquisition channels. They're not Instagram and Facebook. There are lots of places you can go to buy ad space to get coverage or to get free exposure. The other thing you can do is I have this launch course. It actually, I don't want to sound like a broken record telling you guys about it because most of you already know about it. But when you're looking to get traction for a brand new startup, when you're looking to get free coverage to get your initial paying customers, one of the first things that I published, because people kept asking for it, is the launch masterclass. So if you go to the startups page, after you complete the Moneymaker workbook, after you complete the Moneymaker workbook, once you realize how much goes into running a successful startup, you actually want to like move forward with it. Instead of going through Facebook and Instagram and pouring money into that, learn how to get some paying customers from the first month, like within your first month. Once you have some paying customers within your first month, you'll have data on, okay, these are the people who actually paid for something I built or I created or I'm offering. And this is what those people have in common. That will give you information to know how to find more people like that. After that, you can go to niche forums and places like that, and you can just get active within the local groups there, talk with people, share your solution there. After that, then you can look at purchasing ad space on places and actually get a return on that investment. Because when you purchase ad space, you should not be throwing money into a casino. It's an investment. That's why marketers look for a return on that investment. You should be, when you put money in, you should be getting more money back. If you're not, it's not an investment. It's a liability. It's an expense. It's a money pit. Run from money pits. You're not successful by throwing money into a pit. You become successful and you're able to benefit the rest of society when you make money and are successful and your product or your service is able to help people. Okay. And I don't know about you, but the happiest people I've met, they're happy because they make money helping people. That's the goal. Make money doing something you love that other people find very helpful and useful. Next. When did Mike Lindell found MyPillow? I have no idea. How did Justin Kahn bootstrap Twitch? I don't know, and I'm sure you could go to Google for that as well. Should Mark Zuckerberg be held responsible for the impacts of Facebook's products? Why or why not? I think people don't really understand how businesses work if they think the CEO knows everything that's going on and should be held responsible for every single thing that happens at a company that has what? How many employees does Facebook have? Uh, 71,970 employees are at Facebook, full-time employees as of December last year. So you want someone to be in charge of the decisions and actions of 71,000 people? That's insane. They're not God. We don't have deities that live on this planet. I think there are some things that he trusts those decisions to be made by specific people. The largest group of humans I've had to be in charge of was 180 something people from 172 countries. And the only way to maintain sanity while maintaining that small group of people, which is like a penny compared to what Mark has at Facebook, was to break them into groups and then have one person who is in charge of every 20 to 30 people reporting to me. I had to choose people that I trusted to make good decisions. And I had to trust that what they were telling me and reporting back on their teams was accurate. There's simply not enough hours in the day for me to go and check what every single one of those 180 plus people, 189, I think, 189 people were doing. That's just not logical. There's 71,000 people. Obviously, he's going to have departments that are running their own show, and he has to trust that what they're doing is in the best interest of the company. Okay. We are out of time, and we have a Trump question. Will Trump's new social media platform disrupt big tech? I have no idea. I don't even know about the social media platform. I personally find the guy hilarious when he's not doing really stupid stuff that cause destruction to the next generation. But we're not getting into politics. Everyone has their good and bad sides. Let's just leave it at that. This is not a political talk show. So I don't know about his app. I thought that TV show he had was a little bit crazy. How can you validate the success or failure of online courses before even launching it? Okay, so step one, you put a free course on YouTube. You show it to your friends and family that want to learn about that topic. And then you put as a comment or as in the description below that YouTube video, this is where you can join the waitlist for my next course. Then if people liked that course, they're going to join the waitlist for the next course. On your waitlist page, do not be a rookie. Do not say the next course is free. They already got their free course on YouTube. The next course they have to purchase. They can purchase it directly through your own website. They can purchase it through Udemy. It doesn't matter where they purchase it, but they're paying for your second course. Okay, Andy's checking out, and I think it's actually time for us all to go because we've been on for a full hour. Okay, there's Udemy, and we are going to leave it there. Okay, thank you everyone for tuning in. For those of you celebrating Yom Kippur, power to you if you're fasting. And I hope that you all have a good rest of your day. I will see you back online. I think we're going to keep these an hour, which means they'll be every other week instead of every week, because doing an hour every week would really put product development for Molo9 way behind. So I will see you guys back online in 2 weeks, and I'm going to update the schedule now. Take care.